In this video, we present a visual analysis tool to assess alleged cases of plagiarism. Our work shows the analysis of public wikis where the community has collected evidence of suspicious PhD theses, as the one shown here. The analysis done by the community results in a compilation of finding spots. They can be seen in the overview on the left, which gives insight about the entire document. The page bar shows us the number of finding spots, the distribution, as well as how they relate to the original works. Thus, we can estimate the number of the original authors and how much they have been used. Every finding spot is assigned to one of several categories defined by the community. The categories, their numbers, and their respective colors appear in the category bar at the bottom, or, if enough horizontal space remains, as a secondary overview on the right. The overviews are designed to provide effective means of exploring and filtering the suspicious document and to narrow down the finding spots by original authors, by page range, or by category. For example, our plagiarism experts are interested in finding which authors are used most in particular parts of the document. The finding spots are displayed in the main view as so-called TIF lines. A diffline depicts differences and commonalities between two similar text fragments in a horizontal line. This line serves as an intermediate view between the overview and the textual view, which can be opened below. The focus on context view, which is default, was not preferred by all the experts. Some of them preferred a classical list where the height of the diff lines can be adjusted. The currently viewable subset in the main view is emphasized in the overview by connecting the vertical positions of the finding spot in the list across the center gap to their respective paths in the overview. The existence and controls of these paths are being adjusted on the fly by scrolling, but also when reordering or filtering the list. Mapping the length of the diff line to the actual length of the finding spot is mostly preferred by the experts. However, it had some disadvantages when working in combination with the textual view. The diff line consists of a special kind of visual alphabet, which demonstrates what kind of changes happened between the two text fragments. The upper margin of the diff line represents the left text and the lower margin represents the right text. First, text parts often remain exactly the same as in the source piece and are most likely directly copied. They appear as fixed blocks with the background color in the text and are shown as elements of double height in the diff line. They share the same color to provide a visual link. The width of the visual item in the diff line indicates the length of the word sequence compared to the length of the entire finding spot. Second, words from the original have been completely removed, as you can see in the text. Therefore, only a rectangle in the upper half is shown. On the contrary, words have been added to the suspicious fragment at a certain position. They are not contained in the original. We can see the corresponding visual item exists only in the lower half. More often, words between unchanged blocks have been rewritten entirely, resulting in a new text that is sometimes longer or sometimes shorter. The upper rectangle as well as the lower rectangle are drawn. Their widths express their compared length. To facilitate longer text fragments, the visual items in the diff line are highlighted interactively along with their counterparts in the textual views. We provide additional textual views where both texts are merged, such as the classic strike through and underlying pattern, which sometimes looks quite confusing Therefore, we developed a new view that allows the users to blend between the two manifestations of the text fragment for interactively comparing them. Even with the resulting gaps, the text is quite readable. A set of convenient functions is intended to improve the workflow of an examiner or of a community. A text piece within the diff line that has been previously assessed wrong of being different can be changed on the fly, as well as the category of the diff line itself could be changed if necessary. Eventually, a finding spot can be approved or excluded from the list if it is not considered being plagiarized. 42 cases of plagiarism serve as examples and were investigated, discussed, and compared by our experts. Each case differs in number of finding spots, the number of sources, the categories, the distribution of sources, and the method. For example, the very few crossings shown in the overview indicate that this suspect worked in a very linear way, integrating source by source after another. For others, only a few sources suffice if they can be exploited extensively. Other cases, although consisting only of a few pages, surprisingly employed many sources. In this example, nearly half of the number of pages. Our last example shows a very interesting pattern. It was built upon a main source, used across all pages, which means that the overall structure of the original work was resembled and was filled with other sources for completion.